Hi everyone, this is Katie from Moonflower Moments. Welcome and welcome back. Today I would like to start a new tarot tag titled Decks for Quartz. So you're welcome to join in on YouTube or on Instagram, wherever you feel most comfortable participating. And the basic premise of this is that you take your decks and you assign them court card personalities. So this is always something that I've done ever since I started reading tarot. I think I had about 26 decks when I first started doing it. And it really helped me to understand not only my decks deeper, but it also helped me to understand the tricky court system more deeply. And so, sometimes I would know that if I have a question about financial wealth, I definitely want to pull on something that gives me that King of Pentacles energy. So it helped make my collection more practical in that capacity and help me not freeze up when I saw those court cards. So today I'm going to talk about the Pentacle suit in particular because it is the start of Taurus season, and as a Taurus moon, I just feel like these are the decks that I'm going to be gravitating towards in the coming weeks anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the reference material that I'm using, but I'm also going to pull from my own understanding of the quartz as we go to add to it. So I'm going to start with Holistic Tarot, and we can pop on over to the Page of Pentacles. And I'll do this for every quartz, so that way we have a baseline to riff off of, and then I'll add my own interpretations as well. So it seems for the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles wants to make a difference. They have great respect for learning and scholarship. They're pragmatic, result-oriented, and have a strong sense of purpose. And they're resourceful, practical, and has more common sense than the court cards of the other suits. So I'm really getting a sense here that whatever deck that I pull for this needs to be something that gives me some sort of takeaway. So I also wrote a few years ago that is ambitious yet committed, responsible, and an ideal student. So I kind of stumbled for a little while trying to figure out what my Page of Pentacles would be and my Knight of Pentacles, but I think that I've delved onto the perfect deck for the Page of Pentacles, and that would be the Druid oracles. I have combined the animal oracle and the plant oracle together. So one of the key things that I think about when I think of the Page of Pentacles is the fact that they are eager to make a difference. And so the basic premise of this deck is that it goes through common plants and animals that are common in Celtic mythology and Celtic folklore. And oftentimes these animals are written about in a way in the guidebook that makes you realize that they're here to help you, that they're your allies, especially with the plants. You get about 3 pages of information in the larger guidebook about the plants, and it's always written in a very reassuring way. And in the guidebook, there's a section that gives you a takeaway. So what are you supposed to do with this information? So I really find this to be great Page of Pentacles energy because not only is it a learned system, all of this comes from a traditional system. These are the types of plants and animals that you can study forever if this is something that you want to get into, but it still is based on more of a traditional religious path or spiritual path. But it wants to help you make a difference. It's definitely a steady reader. So I pull these cards for my altar at all times, and I have never gotten a reading from this deck that confused me. I knew exactly what it was telling me, and I think that that is Page of Pentacles energy because, bless her heart, she is a earth on earth sign, Page of Pentacles. And so I feel like that does fit her, is that she's going to tell you the truth in a way that is just honest, and not because she wants to be blunt or hurtful or anything like that. It's just she's very simple in that way and very pragmatic in the way. Here's your truth. This is what you should do. A very good friend and a very good advice giver. And so for that reason, this is my Page of Pentacles deck. And it really does remind me to be a Page of Pentacles in that own regard of to go outside and to work with these sorts of energies. There are some things in here that don't grow in Louisiana, but there are some things that do. So it serves as that reminder that I could grow matter in my garden. I already have ivy growing in my garden. There definitely are hairs around here. So to pay attention to the world around me and the beauty around me, I think that's what the Page of Pentacles does best, is that they look at the basics around them, the simple joys, and they find that beauty and they find that opportunity for learning, which makes them that perfect student. So with that being said, this is my Page of Pentacles deck. Now, my Knight of Pentacles deck, I really could go either way. I have a couple things that I have to mind, so I'm going to read the guidebook entry and then I'm going to decide. So I'm seeing here that it's the Knight of Pentacles is typically associated with someone that's methodical, rational. He's someone that's financially stable, takes care of his loved ones. Steady, stable, and assured. So steady, stable, and assured. And I also have methodical and diligent perfectionist. I'm going to go with my gut on this one. And I think I'm going to also show Druidcraft, but then I'm going to also show my other deck. So I think that this fits the Knight of Pentacles very well. I feel like by the time you become a Knight of Pentacles, you have already settled into a particular rhythm. And I think that's what this deck portrays. So you can really see that these, especially the court cards, are set in their personalities. They're very clearly depicted, and I think that that is Knight of Pentacles energy. He is who he is every single day. And what he knows really well. So the fact that this is based in a particular tradition definitely screams Knight of Pentacles for me, because Knight of Pentacles is the person that, even though he is a knight, his adventuring is going to happen in his own hometown. And so I get a sense that all of these individuals and that these people around him are people that he has learned about deeply, but people that are just here. And so I get a deep sense of stability with this. This is a home that you can come back to. Most of it is not going to be particularly revolutionary. You know, they do change some of the cards. So for example, this is Judgment. It's been changed to Rebirth. But for the most part, everything else is a basic Rider-Waite. So it is something that is consistent, something that is steady, something that you can come back to, and a very particular home for you. So I feel like for that reason, this is a deck that you can count on. And for that reason, this is a beautiful Knight of Pentacles deck. So another great Knight of Pentacles deck is, of course, the CBD Tarot. I know that I talk about this all the time, but I really do feel like this fits the prompt. And once I locked onto it, I couldn't think of anything else. So I think ultimately when it comes down to it, if the Knight of Pentacles is someone who's methodical and someone who is rational, but someone who is based in tradition, you have to go with a traditional Marseille. I also think the Knight of Pentacles is someone who is very conservative when it comes to their finances. And I do find that the depictions of the Pentacles being coins in this deck and all Marseilles, when you look at this, you really do see financial stability. You see someone who has all of their finances in order. Everything is here. You know, it's in a savings account. Here it's in a checkings account. Here it's in an IRA. You know, everything that comes down to it demonstrates that ultimately it's locked and it's set in place. So I think that in particular makes this like the ultimate Knight of Pentacles deck. It's solid. It's stable. I mean, it is a traditional Marseille, so it's not as if it is the most exciting, but if you need a good reading and you need advice about the practical matters of your life, this of course has to be mentioned as well. So I'm going to pop back over here on my book for the Queen of Pentacles, which is one of my signifier cards. Oh, the Queen of Pentacles, I love her. So I have a lot of keywords that are underlined here. So I really definitely see the Queen of Pentacles as someone who's resourceful, someone who's intelligent, someone who's great at generating prosperity. She's interested in material professions, and she has a strong sense of duty and responsibility. She's very attuned and considerate to others, and she's very strong and effective at nurturing. So with that being said, I really love this card so much. So I just had to pick two decks for it. So to demonstrate the devoted and pragmatic, the ideal head of household, I definitely had to go with my Greenwitch, because what else is there? And I have edged this one. So what I love so much about the Greenwitch for the Queen of Pentacles is that it definitely depicts a village. And so I see the Queen of Pentacles as someone who always goes above and beyond to take care of others, Definitely someone who is devoted to others, and we can just sit here and admire this because this is my favorite Queen of Pentacles of all time. I think she's beautiful. And I really feel like the fact that this is a village setting would give the Queen of Pentacles the opportunity to show her nurturing side. And you can tell that this is kind of like that fantasy land, but you can also get a sense that it's like an older setting as well. And I really feel like that fits well with the Queen of Pentacles because even though it is based in something that is like a little bit more fantasized, it still is very, very, very much rooted in something that we're familiar with, which is a village. So I see this to be my ultimate Queen of Pentacles deck because of how practical it is, because of the fact that she gives me advice. She's a great listener, she's a great friend, and she's definitely someone who is has a good sense of values, is what I would say. So for her reliability and her willingness to take care of those in her village, this would be my Queen of Pentacles deck. Well, one of them. I couldn't help myself. You know, it is my signifier after all. So another side of the Queen of Pentacles that I really see is her lushness. So because she is the Queen of Pentacles, she is in absolute control of her body. You know, she is water on earth. And so ultimately what I think about that is someone who loves nature, someone who loves her body, someone who loves like the fine things in life. And so this really goes into the lushness aspect of her. I think that these cards are so beautiful that they describe her very well because I could definitely see the Queen of Pentacles as someone who's attuned to nature and someone who likes the finer things in life, pulling out this deck and just reveling in the fact that the artwork is so beautiful and that the gilding is gold. She would appreciate the fact that it is built off of a traditional system. It's definitely RWS. All the decks in here, other than, of course, my Marseille, are very traditional RWS. So she would appreciate that things are familiar for her, but that within that familiarity, there is a garden that has been grown to its fullest luscious amount. There's a sense here in these cards that because the garden is so lush, that someone has been taking care of them immensely. And so I think that she would enjoy being in this particular domain. And I think that she is this particular deck because of how much she reminds me to tend to my own garden and to attune myself to the natural beauties that are in the world. So that is my second Queen of Pentacles deck. So the last one is going to be, of course, the King of Pentacles. And so my keywords that I wrote down for this years ago are a master of material concerns and everything he touches is gold. So I really wanted to encompass a deck that showed someone who is at the pinnacle of success, someone who has spent their lifetime and has spent their years earning wealth through expertise, someone who really knows what they're doing and has controlled their wealth through that expertise. And so when I thought about that in particular, I knew that it had to be the Boticelli. So the Boticelli is a deck that I think is a perfect description of the King of Pentacles. And I think the main reason that this describes the King of Pentacles is because it reminds me of paintings that someone who is uber wealthy, someone who's worked their entire life, would have on their wall. So I'm not sure if the lighting is picking up, but it has gold foiling. So all of the cards do. So they're very shiny. They're draped and luxurious gold. However, the imagery is still very traditional. And so with that being said, I feel like this is the type of art that someone who is a King of Pentacles would appreciate. Something that is clearly steeped in tradition. Something that is clearly meant to represent wealth and luxury. So this is something that he would have after years of working within the industry. And it also, of course, has that pentacle sense, not only of wealth, but also of beautiful, lush nature through the greenery. So perhaps he has a gorgeous garden with trees that are large like this and flowers like this. However, his garden would be more tailored than I think the Queen of Pentacles would be. So while the Queen of Pentacles would be lusher, his is definitely, because it is air mixed in with earth, would be something that is more restrained, which is why, yes, he has beautiful flowers, but those flowers aren't overtaking the area. So there's that sense of control over it with the air element as well. So these were my decks for quartz, for the Pentacles season. So like I said, I will be moving into the other court cards as their appropriate astrological season arrives. I would really love to see your responses to this. So even if you want to comment down below and tell me if you agree or disagree with my interpretations. I know that the court cards tend to be something that is, everyone has a different take and a different understanding of it. So really the primary purpose of this is to help you bond with your decks and help you get a deeper understanding of the court cards, but largely to open up a larger conversation about what they mean to you and how you arrived at those conclusions. So I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear you play along. And so I wanted to tell you thank you so much for supporting my channel if you've made it all the way through the end, and I really appreciate you being here.